issues that you're going to be facing in your term in Congress are going to be many and associated with, as we've already discussed, with gas, taxes, et cetera. Are you going to rely in any way on what the Congressional Budget Office has to say?
To a degree. To a degree. And other sources, but to a degree.
A quick comment and a question.
But I understand what you're saying. Go ahead.
So about the offshoring business, I hope that you're of the mind that businesses don't pay taxes. One of my favorite Reagan quotes, they don't pay taxes. And if you can support lowering or eliminating tax on business income, there'll be a lot more opportunity over here. My question.
But wait, for all of us laymen, when you say business, and I agree with you, don't pay taxes, what are you really saying?
What I'm really saying is that that's a cost of doing business that they pass on to the rest of us.
So who pays
It's
those
as simple as
taxes?
I'm not an accountant.
Who pays those taxes?
We do.
Okay, continue.
So, my question is, one of my dear Democrat friends told me that this flat tax that I think everybody wants is never going to pass because you sacrifice congressional power. Do you have an
Oh,
answer?
good.
Is there a realistic chance of that happening?
Yeah, I gotta tell you, folks, here's my little inside gossip on Washington. God bless you. Thank you. This is a class of 83 freshmen, 83 Republicans. I know it could be real temporary, the excitement that people feel right now. This class is a third of the Republican conference in the House. We are a third of the Republicans in the House. John Boehner and Eric Cantor and the rest of the Republican leadership understand that this class came to Washington with a real specific focus. People sent us here because they're scared to death with how big government's getting. And a lot of these folks who were just elected are a lot like me. They haven't been thinking about this for the last 100 years. They woke up last October, ticked off. You've got, wonderful people. You've got orthodontists and dentists and doctors and small business owners who just said, the heck with it, I'm going to run for Congress because I'm scared for the world Parker's going to live in. These folks are not the kind of typical political folks that are going to give in and compromise. I can tell you that what I'm about to say, I think a lot of them feel. I am going to govern the next 2 years perfectly willing to lose in 2 years. Perfectly willing to lose. We have a job, and we have to do it. And if that means we're going to lose in 2 years, fine. The stakes are too high. So I think the climate's changed to where now notions like a flat tax, notions like, you watch the president in the State of the Union. He's a fairly agile fella. Look for him to come out for a real simplification of the tax code. Look for him to try to co-opt that issue. Those issues are not radical anymore. Yes, sir.
The group that's going in new is understanding what you were saying. But how are you going to hold Boehner and all the rest of the guys who've been there forever?
That's Congressman Boehner to you, sir.
Last week he came out with, one of the first things we're going to do when we go there is we're going to try to cut everything on the congressional budget by a whopping 5%. I listened to that and I was frankly kind of, insulted by it, because if you guys really want to make a statement that you're going there to make some changes, why not cut it by 20, 25% and make some real changes in it? What's 5% is a slap in the face. When your house is not in order,
No, you know what?
cut your expenses by
You know what? You're good point. But let me defend Leader Boehner for a moment. I thought one of the most brilliant things he did a few weeks ago was when he said, I'm flying commercial.
I
I don't need,
absolutely-
again, in the grand scheme of things, huge cost? No. Symbolically, very important. We're gonna all cut our budgets by 5%. Huge number? No. Symbolically important. He gets where the real money needs to get cut. And to me, that's where the proof's in the pudding. If the Republicans, after Jan 5, don't go after substantial spending, it's fine to do this symbolic stuff. But you've got to go after the big stuff. And right now, they're talking like they want to go after the big stuff. The freshmen are certainly hitting them over the head saying, we got to go after the big stuff, or those folks back home aren't going to elect us. There's no way I can turn around and campaign back home if I didn't do something about spending in the deficit. And it can't be, and it can't just be a little symbolic thing when we're talking about real areas of discretionary spending. In the corner.
Hi, Congressman.
And then you. Promise.
I assume 95% of people in this audience may pay taxes, since that's sort of been one of the topics.
Parker, are you paying taxes? Get out of here.
That's why I said 95%. Go ahead. However, we have a lot of people that are now, quote, living in this country, and they're not paying taxes. Now, I'd like to make a few quick comments before, I don't want to make a speech, but people say you can't talk about immigration because you may turn off a particular group. Well, I've got a lot of Russian and Polish and Italian and Irish and Mexican friends who are naturalized citizens. They reveled at it. In fact, I got a couple of those Polish people to vote for you, okay? First time, proud Americans. Now, I grew up in a little town that put Chicago on the map called Cicero.
How did you get in here? Who's our security?
There were a couple of guys, in fact, my best friend, I went from 4th grade when he was chased out of Chicago all the way through college to school with him. Now, he was related to Sam Giancana. Now, he felt that Sam was a blight on the Italian community. He was really upset with Sam walking around in his pajamas at 4 in the afternoon and being a big shot. And the rest of the Italians took it in the air for him. Oh, you're Italian, you got to be connected, you live in Cicero and NYG, okay? Anyway, now we have a group of Hispanics that are here. And we had a thing called the DREAM Act, which Louis pushed for. By the way, I worked for Juan Solis in his primary against Louis, but Louis was a Puerto Rican bus driver that Richie Daley liked, so he
I'm
got
about
the
to
job.
push the filibuster button.
Yeah, thank you. All I'm saying is you are not going to turn off the Hispanic community, because the people that come to my house, my friends who have a Hispanic surname, are looked at like second-class citizens. I got a buddy, he's got an accounting degree from Northern, and he has a feeling that they don't want to give him a job. I'll shut him.
Let me cut you off and let me just say this. Both parties, Republicans and Democrats in general, are scared to death to touch this issue. This issue has to be touched. This issue has to be dealt with. We have to secure the borders. End of story. We have to enforce immigration laws that are currently on the books and our current administration won't. We have to hold businesses accountable for hiring illegal immigrants. We have to, but we have to deal with the elephant in the room, which is you've got 13 to 14 million illegal immigrants in this country right now. What do you do with them?
Eisenhower took care of it in 1954 with 1,075 border agents.
We have to deal with the current problem that's here. That's the one where every on either side of the aisle, we sort of lose what we're saying because it's a hard thing to deal with. But it's got to be dealt with. Look, there's not a lot. That's not the right way to say it. I don't want my government doing a lot of things. I believe in a limited, effective government. One thing I want my government doing is securing its borders and enforcing its laws. Right. And so, we have got to find an efficient way to deal with the illegal immigrants that are here right now. And if that means getting a tad more aggressive in our enforcement, that's the role of government. We have to go down that road. Combined with, there are a lot of people that want to get into this country. We got to make the process of getting in legally a little bit easier. Hold that thought. You're next.
Thank you very much. I also brought you something to read.
Thank you.
I'm very concerned about the fact that being a citizen in this United States,